The Democratic National Committee has confirmed that it has been hacked. Now, the individual who is taking responsibility for this hack goes by the handle of Guccifer 2.0, and according to the Washington Post, a cybersecurity firm believes Russia is behind the attack. Now, the hacker released the donor list for the DNC, and this individual also confirmed that the DNC has been colluding with the Clinton campaign from the very beginning. An internal memo leaked by Guccifer shows how the DNC was trying to help Hillary Clinton's campaign. It reads, "Our goals in the coming months will be to frame the Republican field and the eventual nominee early and to provide a contrast between the GOP field and HRC, otherwise known as Hillary Rodham Clinton. Over the long term, these efforts will be aimed at getting us the best matchup in the general election and weakening the eventual nominee through the course of the primary. We have outlined 3 strategies to obtain our goal. First is to highlight when GOP candidates are outside of the mainstream on key issues, ideally driving the rest of the field to follow you with positions that will hurt them in a general. Now, second is to damage Republican presidential candidates' credibility with voters by looking for targeted opportunities to undermine their specific messaging. 3, use specific hits to muddy the waters around ethics, transparency, and campaign finance attacks on Hillary Rodham Clinton." So with that last line there, that's pretty telling, because they already knew that we would be criticizing her for her corruption because she takes money from virtually every special interest in existence, yet they still wanted to push her through. They said right here that they want to provide a contrast between the GOP field and Hillary Rodham Clinton. Are you surprised? No, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, you're not surprised by this. Now, this has all been incredibly obvious since the beginning, and the DNC chair is supposed to remain neutral, but the current chair, Debbie Do Anything for Hillary Wasserman Schultz, has tipped the scales in favor of Hillary Clinton numerous times. So there were news reports that show that she colluded with Hillary Clinton to limit debates in the very beginning because Hillary Clinton and the DNC both agreed that that would help Hillary Clinton. And furthermore, they banned Bernie Sanders' access to Van after a staffer actually accessed Hillary Clinton's voter files that they recommended Bernie Sanders' campaign hire. So it's been incredibly biased, and they've done everything they can to help Hillary Clinton and hurt Bernie Sanders. So this confirms what we already knew, but it's nice to have some evidence to back it up. Now, what's also obvious is how the mainstream media has been incredibly biased against Bernie Sanders, and this is because there's an inherent conflict of interest because the parent companies of these mainstream media outlets, MSNBC, CNN, well, their parent companies are some of the largest donors to Hillary Clinton's campaign, and this conflict of interest is not disclosed. And furthermore, The Intercept revealed that Clinton campaign operatives literally on Clinton's payroll have been presented as neutral Democratic strategists while praising Hillary Clinton and talking about how bad of a campaign Bernie Sanders is running. And this hack also confirms what we've been yelling about from the very beginning: collusion with the media. So their tactics are working with the DNC and allied groups. We will use several different methods to land these attacks, including reporter outreach, working through the DNC and others. We should use background briefings, prep with reporters for interviews with GOP candidates, off-the-record conversations, and oppo pitches to help pitch stories with no fingerprints and utilize reporters to drive a message. Also, releases and social media. Where appropriate, these attacks can be leveraged for more public release, particularly the attacks around specific issues where a public release can point out that the Republicans are outside of the mainstream. Also, bracketing events. Both the DNC and outside groups are looking to do events and press surrounding Republican events to insert our messaging into their press and to force them to answer questions around key issues. We look forward to discussing this strategy further. Our goal is to use this conversation to answer the questions: who do we want to run against, and how best to leverage our candidates to maneuver them into the right place. So with this line of text here, we see that they're a little bit more agnostic about who should be the Democratic Party's nominee, but they're directly saying that they want reporters to drive a message. That's not how a democracy is supposed to work. The media is supposed to be independent from government and is supposed to hold politicians accountable, not collude with them. This is insane. So in other words, we should no longer call the Democratic Party the Democratic Party. We should call them the undemocratic party, because that's what they're doing. They are stifling democracy in order to, quote, drive the message home. Here's the thing. The authenticity of these documents cannot be confirmed, but we do know, 1, that the DNC was hacked, and 2, that this isn't necessarily unbelievable. The question, rather, is what can be done? Because if it is the case that the DNC did tip the scales in favor of Hillary Clinton, spoiler alert, they did, well, then it proves that our democratic process is a sham.